I'm truly trying to remember how to do this. I don't, how do we do this, y'all? Oh yeah! Cue the music. It's been a long time coming. And I'm proud to say, we're back. Here we go. Season 2 of the 2-2 podcast is now live. Oh man, I've missed y'all so much. But don't think for 1 second that it's because I've been gone, we've been slacking off. Okay, I've been slacking off a little bit, but that's beyond anything. Whatever. Listen, today's episode is going to be everything you need. So with that being said, you know the move. Grab your friends, grab your family, grab your co-workers. Let's have a talk. See you in a minute. Have you ever wanted to record a podcast but didn't know the way? Well, I've got good news. Let me tell you about something. It's called Anchor. And Anchor is the easiest way to record a podcast. Let me explain. It's absolutely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So here's what I need you to do. Please download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. At some point in our lives, we've either said this to ourselves and or to someone who has hurt us. But sometimes our hearts are so big. Better yet, we can be so weak, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Sometimes our self-esteem can be low. Sometimes it's a lot of factors. Sometimes our self-esteem is so low, though, that we don't end up meaning what we say. We end up tolerating the same things over and over and over again. So, on the season 2 premiere of the 2-2 podcast, I wanted to just draw the line. I wanted to talk about having the strength to draw the line. We oftentimes hear about drawing the line when it comes to battle. We hear about drawing the line when it comes to the leniency of a teacher in a class. We hear about drawing the line when when coaching is involved, when discipline needs to happen. A coach will draw the line. He or she will do certain things to incite wisdom and create discipline, create a culture of discipline within their team. And so eventually, at some point, you have to draw the line within your own life. And today, and for the next few Tuesdays, I titled this whole series, They've Got It Twisted. Show of hands, have this discussion with yourself, have this discussion with your friends and family. What are some things in your life? And I put this on Instagram. Please, by the way, follow my personal page. This is on my personal page at AlexJ_live. That is AlexJ_live. And also follow the show page at 22_podcast. That's the word 2, the number 2 _podcast on Instagram. I put this on there as a question. And feel free to respond. It's going to be there. I'm not taking it off. I don't like taking things off, especially if they're very important to the podcast. But for the next few Tuesdays, I'm doing a series called They've Got It Twisted. It's all about tolerance. It's all about tolerance. In so many cases, we tolerate so much that we shouldn't. We tolerate so much that we shouldn't. And going into the last 2 months of this year, man, this year went by quick. Going into the last 2 months of this year, it's time to stand up and speak out about the things that we will not tolerate any further in our own lives. We won't tolerate it. We won't have it. We won't stand for it anymore. Because we want to go out, we want to go into 2021 stronger than we've ever been. But first, we have to draw the lines and really stand up and really speak out about what we will not tolerate. So for the next few Tuesdays, and we're going to talk about tolerance. But let's draw the lines today. Let's acknowledge those things in our lives that we have tolerated way too long. All right? Here we go. And now, I want you to write these down. I always tell you, grab your notebook, grab your friends, grab your family. Write these down. But also, write down a personal list for yourself of the things that you've tolerated in your life that you will not tolerate any further. Feel free to write those down for yourself as well. These are personally things in my life that I've allowed, and I'm going to also in the end talk about like how I took care of it. What did I do to make sure it never happened again? So, let's roll. All right. So, what are some things that we tolerate? We tolerate, number one, negative conversation and gossip. You've heard me talk about this in the previous season. We tolerate negative conversation, whether we think we do or not. There's a rush in being. There's this rush that we get in being petty. Starting out the gate strong. There's a rush that we get from being petty. Sometimes there's a rush in taking the low road. There's a rush in not being the bigger person or the better person. There's a rush that we get. And sometimes we don't realize that the negative conversations we have a immense impact on our lives in general. They have an immense impact. They control our conversations, can control our lives. They can control them. If we're not careful about what we say and who we say it around or who says things to us, here it is. We become what people say. If we are not guarded, and if we do not guard our ears and we do not guard the words that we say, we become what we say. That's why it pays. That's why it pays to say, even when you're sick, that you're going to be well. That's why it pays to say, I'm healed when I'm in pain. You have to change the narrative. You have to change the conversation that you have. The conversations that you have an impact on you. You can't just say anything and expect something. You can't say anything negative and expect something great to happen. And you can't want, let me rewind. You can't want to be so accepted. You don't need to be so accepted that you will allow yourself to be around a circle of people that all that they do It's gossip. Talk about the next person and talk about what they're doing and talk about what they were wearing. You can't be surrounded by that. So we tolerate negative conversation and gossip. That's number one. Number two, we tolerate abuse. We tolerate things beyond physical abuse. No, it's not just physical abuse. Sometimes it's psychological abuse. We've been abused in so many ways, shapes, and forms that we become desensitized to the abuse. We treat it as it's just the way things are. And a lot of times, here it is, and the next two connect with each other. But we'll go on this one first. Sometimes abuse is hidden behind the facade of put air quotes on it, good marriage or good relationship. It's easy to portray a good relationship, a good marriage in front of everybody, in front of the cameras, in front of a group of people. But sometimes our marriages and our relationships are keeping up appearances. Sometimes we need to learn how to draw the line. This is not how you're going to love me. This is not how. Here it is. Number 3, bad love. That's the third one here. This is not how you're supposed to love me. This is not how you love me. This is not what love looks like. Love don't hurt. Donnell Jones said it best. When you love someone, you don't treat them bad. You don't abuse them. We've had our share of love abuse from our relationships, from our marriages, from our friends, from our family. Because sometimes nobody hurts you worse than your own blood. Nobody hurts you worse sometimes than your own blood. The people that you wish would be there for you and love you, no one hurts you worse than your blood. We've been abused. Our love has been abused. Our time has been abused. Have you ever had somebody that abused and wasted your time? My kindness has been abused. Don't allow anybody to take your kindness as weakness. I'm supposed to be this way. And let me draw back to an episode. I love peace. I value peace. But here we go. We back at it again. Don't try me. Sometimes you have to let people know based on your actions that I am not the one to be played with. Don't think because I smile and I'm joking around that means you can abuse all of that. I've allowed too many things in my life to be abused, and I refuse to tolerate the abuse anymore. It's taking a toll on my health psychologically. Mentally, it's taking a toll on my health. Physically, it's taking a toll on my health. It's taking a toll on the dreams that I have. We cannot tolerate abuse. Number 3, bad love. Bad love. I went to it just for a second, and I had to come back. Here we go. Bad love. When you love someone, you just don't treat them bad. Talk to him, Donnell. Talk to him, Donnell Jones. When you love someone, you just don't treat them bad. How many, show of hands, I know you can't see me, I can't see you. It is what it is. I understand that. But how many in here that are listening to this podcast right now can say to themselves, I have had to endure some bad love? I had to tolerate some bad love. I had to deal with the pain of bad love. Bad love. The type of love where they treat you any kind of way. Bad love where they treat you bad in front of their friends. Bad love where they act like you're not there. Bad love when they don't care about your feelings. Bad love when they don't care that you're hurting. Bad love, they don't care when you're afflicted. Bad love, they don't support you when you're trying to heal. Bad love, they're unsupportive. How many people in here have had to deal with bad love? Bad love, where all it is about them. It's all about them. You've given them everything. And they still won't treat you right. They still won't love you right. They don't tell you they love you anymore. Heck, they don't even show you that they love you anymore. You know, there's a band called Why Don't We? My mama, little sister, and I have a favorite song by them called 8 Letters. And it says, if all it is 8 letters, why is it so hard to say? Well, let me do a remix of that. When you're dealing with bad love, if all it is 8 letters, why is it so hard to do? It's hard to love somebody when they won't love you back. Bad love. When the love has no reciprocal value. The love you give has no reciprocal value. Going into 2021, going into the last 2 months of this year, I just want to let somebody know that's dealing with bad love. It's time. It's game over for love with no reciprocal value. It's game over for love with it's game over for one-sided love. If I love you hard, you better give it back. No excuse. No conditions. No conditions except this: that you will not abuse me, that you will not mistreat me, that you will give me the same energy. Give me the same energy or get out of here. You can love me and keep that same. You can love me as hard as you can, and keep that same energy, or keep that same energy that you had before, but give it to somebody else, because I don't need bad love going into a new year. I don't need bad love going into these last 2 months. I won't tolerate it anymore. Bad love. Move on. Number 4, generational curses. We have tolerated generational curses. You hear me talk about generational curses on here a lot. A whole lot. We tolerate generational curses simply because we dismiss them. It's just the way things are. Yeah, I repeated something from season 1. I understand. I get it. Whoop-de-whoop. Listen. We tolerate these as the way things are. But the way things aren't the way that they should be. Oh, this is just what my family does. No. We tolerate that. We become so desensitized by the things our family has started and keeps going. We're so desensitized by the fact that it keeps going. Sometimes we're desensitized because it is out of fear. We think that we started it, and lo and behold, we didn't start some of the generational curses that we have. But you have an obligation, you have a duty to end it. You have an obligation. I'm going to say it again, and I'll say it through the rest of season 2 and beyond. You have an obligation, you have a duty, you have a purpose to end generational curses in your life. It doesn't matter what it is, addiction, whatever, gambling, alcoholism, whatever it may be. You have a duty and an obligation to end a generational curse. The question is, will you have the strength to draw the line? Will you have the strength to draw the line? Here it is. Number 5. Low effort, procrastination. We have tolerated low effort, not just from other people, but from ourselves. Sometimes low effort can come from doubt and fear, trepidation. It can come from that. And we have to be willing to remove fear from our lives in order to achieve what we want to achieve. We must be willing to do that. We have to have a go-get-it mentality. Because in so many cases in our lives, we're the first ones to do a lot of things in our family. We're the first. We're the first ones to accomplish certain things in our lives. Us. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes when we're gripped with that fact, we will, here it is. We will employ a level of fear that causes us to not give the effort that we want. To not to procrastinate, to just put it on the shelf. We can't allow fear and doubt to cause us to become procrastinators. We can't. We can't allow low effort to happen. I'll give you an example. As you guys know, I started playing tennis again. I've been playing tennis since I was a little kid. I took almost a decade and a half off because I had a basketball dream. But if you see me and you know me, I'm not that tall. I am 5'5", and so I was okay at basketball, but I wasn't, gonna catch the eye of a college coach. And so when I should have stuck with the sports that I was excelling in, I didn't. When I should have stuck with, I decided to play a sport that I was decent in. And that was all right. I became a basketball coach, and that's great. But oftentimes I think about what I would have done if I would have stuck with golf, tennis, and soccer. Just that. Golf, tennis, and soccer. I imagine that I would have been at a different school. I imagine I would have probably gone to some college somewhere. Maybe a Division I, maybe a mid-major Division I. And maybe it was maybe a little school somewhere, Division III. Could have gotten a scholarship to play. My grades probably would have been better because I love the sport. I love those 3 sports. I know I definitely would have been at a different school, preferably one in the suburbs, or preferably
I would have tried to excel at the school that I'm at, the school that I was at the time. And so, my biggest reason for not giving the effort and the energy to those three sports was because there wasn't a whole lot of black folks that played golf. Well, young black folks that played golf. Or a lot of young black folks that played tennis. Or a lot of young black folks that played soccer. In some of my circles in high school, those sports were, or middle school and high school, some of those sports were considered quote unquote white people sports, white person sports. Black people don't play golf. Black people don't play soccer. Well, with soccer, it was either a white person sport or it was a sport for Africans. Whatever. But I was inspired by, of course, Tiger Woods as far as golf was concerned. I was inspired by not only the Williams sisters, but James Blake. There's a black guy named James Blake who played tennis. I was inspired by him to play tennis. I was inspired to play tennis. I was on a tennis team. I'm back with that tennis club. Shout out to Wolf Park. And so my effort became low. I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to play tennis or golf or anything like that, any soccer or anything like that anymore. Because it was out of fear that the people that I had around me wouldn't deal with me because, well, I'm playing a white person sport. I'm playing a sport that black folks don't play at all. But I was wrong. And I refused to allow and to tolerate low effort from me at any point. Back to playing tennis. And I refused to, now that I'm back to it, my effort can't be low at any time. I refuse to allow my effort to be low. I refuse to procrastinate. I want to get better each and every day. I know I just wanted to draw the lines and tell a story of how I got back to it. But and thank you for listening to that portion while we're back here. We can't allow low effort and procrastination to become our demise. Become our demise. All right, number 6, bad habits. What are your habits? What are your habits? What are those things that you just can't stop doing? What are those things you just can't stop doing? I got some stuff and some things that a lot of times I couldn't stop doing. And I talked about it. And if you want to hear that episode, it's on there. It's from season 1. I talk about bad habits. I talk about all this stuff. We got things that we have that are bad habits that we all need to get rid of. Identify those bad habits and acknowledge that you have them and get rid of those things, because if you don't, it will consume who you are and you'll become your bad habits. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character becomes your destiny. Don't allow your bad habits to cause you to reflect your character. Don't let your bad habits, become the beacon of bad character. Don't allow that to happen. Bad habits. I don't tolerate having bad habits. At least those debilitating ones. Yeah, it's okay to, have a slight addiction to cherry Dr. Pepper. By the way, I can't stop drinking that stuff. Pray for me, y'all. Pray my strength, because you can't find cherry Dr. Pepper. They probably because they heard about me drinking it a lot. I can't find it anywhere. And the last time I found it, I went stir crazy and bought a whole bunch. Pray for me, y'all. Anyway, bad habits. Okay, number 7, lack of identity. Oh, not knowing yourself. I will not tolerate not knowing my identity. Know yourself. Know that you are great. Know that you have greatness in you. Know that thing. Just know that you have it in you to be great. To do great. To achieve. To do something nobody in your family's ever done. Know that. Gosh, it's hard sometimes to really, when you are dealing with an identity issue, it's so hard to really take in that you have greatness inside of you. And so, know that. Say that to yourself. I'm great. I have something inside of me that will change the lives of so many. Sometimes learning your identity involves a lot of. Sometimes it takes looking at yourself in the mirror and say, "I will achieve what I am meant to achieve." I'm not my past. I'm not who I was. I'm not who people portrayed me to be. I'm not what somebody else says about me. I'm not. I'm going to do what God. I'm going to be what God says about me. Know yourself. One of my favorite people in the world, and shout out to her, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world is my good friend Courtney. She has a thing that she does called Project Ugly. And the ugly in Project Ugly stands for you gotta love yourself. You've gotta love yourself. But there's something that she does a lot on Instagram. And it says, "Hello, beautiful." I love that. Hello, beautiful. It's just to remind you something. Say hello to say hello, beautiful. Hello, handsome. Hello, king. Hello, queen. Hello, man of God. Hello, woman of God. Hello, champ. Hello, conqueror. I know who I am. I'm more than a conqueror. I'm a champion. I'm a winner. I'm redeemed. I'm set free. I'm all of that. I'm victorious. Know your identity. You cannot, in this season, tolerate a lack of identity. You cannot have a lack of identity. It is okay to be in a place where you're learning. But be willing to learn about who you are. Be willing to grasp what your identity is. A lack of identity is something that we've tolerated in our own lives. And finally, number 8. Here it is. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this one, and we're going to get up out of here. Here it goes. The revolving door. The revolving door. Here it is. How many in this year alone? We're not talking about 2019. We're talking about this year alone. Have had people come in and go out. 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 And they don't go all the way in. They're playing with the door. You've heard me talk about the revolving door of friendships and relationships. And I want to bring this back for just a second. Don't act like for 1 second when you were a kid, you went to a place that had a revolving door and you didn't try to play with the revolving door. You didn't try to go around that thing, go around the revolving door several times. Because it wasn't like the usual push-pull, go past the door opens by itself. No, it wasn't like that. It was a revolving door. And sometimes the people in our lives get so enthralled by the revolving door that they're oblivious to the fact that if they go all the way in, they'll realize how great you are, what you can be. You will be all in or you need to get all out. Stop playing with the revolving door of my life. You can't sit. If you're going to stay, stay. If you're going to leave, then leave. But I refuse to allow somebody to keep playing with the revolving door of my life. That's why, in a lot of cases, when you go past a building, especially in the downtown area of whatever city that you live in that has that has skyscrapers, that has a revolving door, a lot of times the revolving door is closed. Sometimes you're forced to use the door that you push and pull. You have to learn how to tell people the revolving door is closed. Please use the other door. Because you're just not going to just come in my life and just leave just like that. You're not going to come in my life and break things and then just leave. You're not just going to come in my life and damage me and then leave. You're not just going to come into my life. No, don't even come around me. I'm not about that life. Don't come around me with that. Tom Petty had a song. And it says, don't come around here no more. Whatever you're looking for, if you're looking to hurt me, if you're looking to play me like you played the last one, oh no, I'm pulling the Tom Petty. Don't come around here no more. Don't come around here at all wasting my time. Don't come around here anymore. Give it up. Stop. Whatever you were looking to do in this season as I'm growing and progressing and finding my identity and breaking bad habits and up and lift and cranking my effort up and breaking generational curses and removing bad love and removing abuse and getting away from the negative conversation and the gossip. Don't come around here. We're not here to play with this. I'm not here to play. I got stuff to do. I'm not trying to drift away from what I'm destined to be and what I'm destined to do in these last 2 months going into 2021. I'm not here to play with it. And so for the next few weeks, we are going to talk about tolerance. We're going to break these down one by one. We are going to have a conversation. And you better get ready because we jumping on this one. On Tuesdays, just be ready. We are talking about they got it twisted. But I had to draw the line. But we needed to acknowledge and draw the lines in order for you to realize how we're coming. And I encourage you to draw the line. Figure out what you have tolerated for so long that you would no longer tolerate from this moment forward. Figure out those things. And if I could add one, a bad mindset. A bad mindset has been tolerated for too long, and we will not tolerate that, and you will not tolerate that in your life. So I encourage you, going into the rest of this week, to figure out what you've tolerated for so long and never tolerated again.
Hey, listen, thank you for joining the show today. Don't forget to follow the show page and my personal page. The show page is 22_podcast. That is 22_podcast on Instagram. And my personal page at AlexJ_live. That is AlexJ_live. Please don't forget the 22 podcast has merch. That's on 22apparel.threadless.com. That is 22apparel.threadless.com. See you soon.